Hi there, Erin Lee here of heavenlymessenger.com, and welcome to this week's Connection with Intention. I'm so incredibly grateful that you're here this evening. It's always a pleasure for me to be able to connect with you in this way, and I'm grateful for the time that you're taking out of your busy day to be here with me. We've got a couple of fun things that are happening this evening. First of all, we've got a bit of an energy check-in. I've got a topic in particular that I've been thinking about for the last couple of days. If you are a Connection with Intention insider, that means you've signed up to receive the Connection with Intention email newsletter, then you'll already know a little bit about what we're talking about, and you've got a bit of an inside scoop. You would have also seen the Choose Your Adventure crystals that we're going to be using for the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading this evening. And as always, we're going to round things out with mini psychic readings for the people who are live with us. So first and foremost, please don't send your questions in until I ask for them. It's not until I open up the lines to receive questions that I'll be even looking at them to answer them. So please, hellos are welcome in the comments section. I always love to hear from you, but please hold on to your questions. Also, if you received a reading last week when we did the show, I'm going to skip over you this week if you ask a question again this week. And that's just to help to keep things fair for everybody, because there are always so many questions that I'm not able to get to. So I'm grateful that you're here, and I ask you to come back another time if you still have your question. Alternatively, you might want to reach out and connect for a personal reading, and you can do that on my website, heavenlymessenger.com, and it's booking with Erin. Hold on a second. If I were really savvy, I would be able to put this up and we did it. So if you wanted to connect for your own personal reading, you can absolutely do that here. Or if you're interested in any of the classes that are coming up tomorrow night, we've got Psychic Playgroup here at my studio in Union Bay, and we're going to be creating abundance bowls. So it's borrowing from witchy and pagan kind of practices, but incorporating Reiki and energy and more of the work that I do in my realm. So it's a really cool combination. We're going to be using some chakra clearing spray and pendulums. We've got a couple of things that are going to help to anchor the intentions that we have. We're doing everything smoke and fire free, because we're currently heading into a drought situation where I live right now, and we don't want to tempt fate by bringing any fire in. So we're doing everything water-based, which is kind of exciting. So the conversation for us this evening it has to do with energy, and it comes out of a question that I received from one of my Reiki students. She came and did her level 1 training with me a couple of weeks ago, and she was checking in and said, "Hey, I've been experiencing more energy overall, which has been awesome, but it's also been bringing the bigger stuff up too." And actually, it just kind of occurred to me, she's coming in for level 2 in a couple of weeks as well. So that's also part of it. There's a clearing process that's happening. However, her question still applies to all of us. And she said, I'm wanting to make sure that I'm dealing with these bigger, uncomfortable emotions in a way that is healthy, that's not putting it on to anybody else, particularly my partner, who may not be as aware of energy as I am. And I thought, man, this is a wonderful conversation to have with all of the people who pop on the show and join me for Connection with Intention. So here we are. So what happens when you are feeling the big, uncomfortable emotions and energies? And as somebody who is sensitive yourself, you know that you don't want to be randomly letting this loose on other people. One, people who maybe aren't aware of energy and don't know what to do with it themselves, and or two, who are also equally sensitive, who might feel kind of run over by the stuff that you're holding, experiencing, and or processing. So what can we do with that? So first and foremost, often when big stuff is coming up and happening, it's because we're needing to understand something, we're learning something, we're processing something. There's always an underlying reason why. So it's coming up in the way that it is because this is how it's getting our attention. In the future, the more that you recognize when stuff is coming up, the less loud that it needs to be in order to get your attention. So self-awareness practices, checking in, counseling and therapy, mindfulness, all of these are things that you can use as preventatives to kind of offset the intensity of some of the stuff that you experience. But once you're there, what the heck do you do with it? So again, reiterating that you want to understand why it's coming up possibly in the way that it is, and why it's so loud. But when it comes to releasing, to moving on and moving forward, there are a couple of really handy techniques. So often I talk to my sensitive people, and I use this myself. I have an energy bubble around me so that anything that's positive and loving can come through. But my intention is that anything that's negative, that's being sent towards me intentionally or unintentionally, bounces off of my energy bubble, is transmuted into love, and it's sent back to the person that or the place that it came from. And the reason for that, I'm transmuting it into love because there's no point in me sending nastiness back to someone or something that's already in a nasty place, because that's not going to be beneficial for me. It's not going to be beneficial for them. And it's not going to be beneficial for anybody else that they come into contact with. So I'm going to say, hey, guys, transmute this into love and send it back. But what happens if the energy, the nastiness is like coming from the inside? What do I do with that? So as I'm sending energy out, positive, loving, and nasty, I can ask that that same boundary, that same protection act as a filter as well, and say, hey, only allow things that are positive and loving out, and anything that isn't positive and loving, transmute it and either pop it back to me, because obviously I could use a hand, or send it out to somebody else. Something else that we can do is we can send it up to God, Source, Universe, or we can send it down into the earth. Just because the way that we're experiencing energy is feeling big or overwhelming or uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's bad. There isn't good or bad in energy. For us, there are energies that are positive or more comfortable to feel and experience. And then there are energies that are maybe less positive and far less comfortable to experience, but it doesn't make them good or bad. So sending that energy, that surplus, that excess up to God, Source, Universe, or down into the earth is not something that is harmful. It's just kind of recycling energy. So we can do that through our intention. We can do that through getting right down close to the ground and patting it several times with our hands. Now, this is particularly beneficial if you're able to do it outside, and you're able to do it with some breath, and you're able to do it with some intention. So a process, or this might look like coming into stillness, coming into awareness of your breath, and breathing in and kind of gathering and collecting anything that you're ready to release, to let go of as you stand, and then going down to the earth. And as you release the exhale, as you exhale the breath rather, tapping into the ground. So with the intention that that energy is released. If it's something that feels really big and you need to go through a lot of movement, then incorporate with the breath, lifting your arms up, gathering it all in, and then going down into a squat and sending the energy back down to the earth. And in that way, you're engaging in the physical release of that energy as well. You can do that as many times as you would like. Now, in the course of responding to this email, I saw something that I don't have a huge amount of experience with personally. I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but it's come up in this email, it's come up in conversations, and it's come up in a couple of readings as well. And so I'm going to share it with you here. And if you have any experience with it, I would love to hear in the comments how you've worked with that. And so it's actually inspired by martial arts practices. And I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to say I don't have any martial arts experience myself, but I have a very small basic understanding of it. And so if I am a smaller person who is potentially a martial artist, and there is somebody who is bigger or stronger or more forceful that is coming at me, it is easier to redirect that energy and to use it back against them rather than trying to take what I have to push and force and make it stop. So instead of me coming up against a force that is far greater than I am and being trampled by it, instead, I can use that energy, that power, that momentum, and transfer it right back into them. And the same can be done with challenging, big feeling energy and emotion. We can harness that energy. Breath is a really great way of doing that. And then instead of releasing it back into the earth or back up to source, we can say, hey, this is something that I'm working on, that I'm working with. And instead, I'm going to ask that this be transmuted and the power, the energy, and the intensity of that go into this other thing that I'm actively working towards, actively creating, actively healing. And so there's the opportunity for transmutation to happen within ourselves as well. So again, this is a message that's come up for me repeatedly that I am going to have to try myself. But I know that this is something that can work and can happen. And if you're here with me live, I'd love to hear in the comments if you've also had experience with this energy as well. Speaking of the comments, let's pop over and say hello to everybody who's joined us. Stacy, hello, welcome. It's great to see you. And Rhonda, a big hello from Manitoba. Thanks for joining us and staying up late this evening. I did it. Hi. It's great to see you, Tatiana. Thanks for popping on. Kara, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's Kara's first time here. I'm excited you're here. Debbie saying hello from Victoria. Hi back from Union Bay. And Pam is here. Good evening. It's wonderful to see you. And Tanya, another Tanya, hello, welcome. Tanya said here, hit friend. And she said, I meant hi. It's okay. I would have figured it out. But if you did see me starting to slap myself, you'd know why. Tina, hello, welcome. It's great to see you. And Becky, all the way from Bali, hello. It's great to see you this evening. Thanks for joining us. Wonderful. Before we move on to the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading, let me just see if I can figure this out again. It's not there. Oh, there we go. There it is. So today I was a busy little bee. It's not perfect, but it will do. And I was updating my website and I've got a new spot on the website. It's heavenlymessenger.com/connection-with-intention. It's also, you can see it if you go to heavenlymessenger.com. It is one of the options in the menu there as well, because that is a really long web URL. The reason that I'm inviting you to check it out is because that's where the email newsletter sits or the sign up rather, for the Connection with Intention email newsletter. And this is why I'm bringing some energy and attention to it. What I've been finding, and part of the reason I've been really inconsistent with coming and doing Connection with Intention, is that it actually takes a long time to get everything set up, from setting up the live stream to going to YouTube and Facebook and all of the other places, and email, and maybe some people see it and maybe some people don't, and creating events. And it takes about 10 hours to get everything ready to come live with you guys for the hour and a half that we're here. And so I know that in the future, I do want to be streaming more often because I love connecting with you. And I want to make sure that I'm able to catch the people who really want to come and be there. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to move towards the Connection with Intention email newsletter. I absolutely promise, one, it's not spammy, it's not salesy. I don't like that. It's one of the reasons I haven't done an email newsletter in the past. I just can't stand it. But what it will have is it will have a little blurb about what we're going to talk about this week. Also, there will be an invitation if there's like a topic that you want me to talk about in the intro section, the way that I just talked about big energy. You'll have a sneak peek for the crystals for the Connection with Intention, or pardon me, no, for the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading. And you'll also have the direct links to YouTube and Facebook. So you can go to the email and really easily find where the live stream is, because Facebook is proving to be really unreliable for connecting with people. So this is part of what we're doing. And I'd love for you to join me on the journey. So again, like head over to my website, heavenlymessenger.com, check in with Connection with Intention, and drop me your email address. I promise I won't spam you stuff because I hate that. I'm not going to do that energetically. That's gross. And that you can unsubscribe at any time. If it's just not jiving for you, it's just not working with you, no worries. I totally understand. And I'm not going to feel badly if you say, hey, this isn't my cup of tea. Also, in the next month, this year is actually the 20th year that I have professionally been giving readings and practicing and teaching Reiki. And I've got a little bit of a surprise that's going to be coming up. I'm pretty sure that it's coming towards the end of June. And I will also be putting information about that in the Connection with Intention email newsletter. And that's the only thing that's outside of Connection with Intention that will be in the newsletter. So if you're like, I wonder what the heck Erin's cooking up, check it out. Okay, let's bring forward. Actually, I'm going to double check and see if we've had anybody else come in the chat. Let me see. Tanya's laughing. Good. I'm glad. Catherine, hello. It's wonderful to see you. And Kathy, thanks so much for joining us. It's great to see you. Hello to Summer as well. Okay, so I know we have a couple of people who haven't been here before. So this is how the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading works. In a moment, I'm going to put a picture of some crystals on the screen. You don't need to know what they are. You don't need to know what they do. It's totally okay. What you will do is you'll think about a question or multiple questions, and I'll lead you through this next part. We're going to kind of slow our breath and our breathing, and we're going to ask our helpers for help. So when I talk about helpers, I personally like to work with God, Source, Universe, angels, ascended masters, and other beings of light. But maybe you have specific spirit guides or gods and goddesses or other beings of light that you want to connect with. So when I talk about helpers, that's your cue to say, hey guys, what do I need to know? And then you're going to ask your question, and you're going to scan the crystals and see which one pops out for you as being the one that's going to represent the message that you need to receive about the question that you have. I have this, what I think is really fun card deck that I created. It's a tool to develop intuition, but the last couple of weeks we've been using it on the show as well. And to just make sure we've got lots of clarity, I'm also going to pull a card from the Archangel Oracle card deck. So each crystal is going to have 2 cards with overall messages so that you can receive a message regardless of whether I end up connecting with you for a personal mini reading in the next part of the show. All right. I hope that that is clear as mud. And hello to Mary Catherine. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. This is, I should also say I am dressed underneath this. It's not completely sheer, but thank you so much, Mary Catherine, for that. And hello, Heike. It's so good to see you too. Okay. So these are our crystal choices. So on the left, we have Angel Aura. We have Angel Light and Citrine. When I was choosing the crystals for this week, it really felt like we needed some angel energy and connection coming in. So that was what really guided our choices. So what I'll ask you to do is take a moment to become clear on the question or questions that you're wanting to ask about. For phrasing, I always like to be kind of specific, but also kind of open too. So what do I need to know about this relationship? What do I need to know about work? What do I need to know about releasing? What do I need to know about letting go of something that's holding me back? What do I need to know is a really great opening into a question, and it invites in curiosity as well. So think about your question, connect with your helpers, invite them in, and ask which crystal will best represent the answer that you need for the question that you're asking. So again, your options are Angel Aura, Angel Light, and Citrine. I'll say those actually 2 more times while I choose the cards. So first one is Angel Aura, the second one is Angel Light, and the third one is Citrine. And our Archangel cards, Angel Aura, Angel Light, and Citrine. Awesome. All right. I hope that you've had a moment. I'll leave them up for one more moment as you can choose. So again, Angel Aura, Angel Light, and Citrine. Okay. Just going to pull this down. There we go. Wonderful. So the first card was for Angel Light. This is where you guys might have to help me and remind me. And oh my goodness. So this card for me speaks to joy. There's joy. So even though we are caught in the rain, we still have lots that's going on here. We're in a really vibrant color. There's joy that's all around us, and we're seeing the joy, the love, the happiness, the laughter in the situation. So part of what this card is saying is that, yeah, there is a lot of stuff that's going on. Maybe it's a little bit challenging, but a big part of how this is going to move forward and how we can feel good about it has a lot to do with our perception of it and how we're choosing to interact and engage with the circumstances and situation. There's also encouragement and reminder here to find joy in the circumstance and the situation that you're in. And if that isn't present in this space, then make sure you're finding it outside of this as well. The circumstance, the situation, the question that you've asked about, it's not the be all end all for what you're dealing with. It's important to make sure that you are sustaining yourself outside of this situation too, if there isn't joy that's present within it and if you're not able to find it yourself. The other thing that I'm really drawn to is the yellowness of the rain jacket that she's wearing. For me, yellow symbolizes the solar plexus chakra, which has to do with our sense of self, our sense of purpose, our sense of who we are. And so within this joy is you being really firm and really clear about who you are. And that's also part of why things are happening as they are, is because you're being asked to really come into who you are as a person, what's important to you as a person. And then all of this challengingness, it becomes easy to cope and deal with. And it's not all challenge, because look, we've got lots of light that's coming here. There's joy that's coming here too. So our perception of the circumstances and the situation that we're in is a really big part of how things are moving forward. So the clarifying card that we have here from the Archangel Oracle card deck is the claircognizance card. And I really love how that yellow is also being represented here. And it's interesting because we have really strong rain and sun, and yet here we also have a little bit of a rainbow that's popping up for us too. There's lots of brilliant light. So if you've chosen Angel Light, the next part of the message is claircognizance. So claircognizance is one of the 4 primary ways that we receive intuitive messages and information, and it means literally clear knowing or clear thought. And it's thoughts and ideas that pop into our head. So in terms of being able to move forward through this, pay attention to the thoughts and the ideas that are coming up for you. Also, carrying on with the idea that we are having an impact on the circumstances that we find ourselves in. If the thoughts that are coming up for you are cycling around the same thing over and over and over again, or they're negative or they're pulling you down, this is also a reminder to say, like, hey, pay attention to what you're thinking, and remember that what you're thinking becomes part of the reality that you experience as well. So there's lots that's going on here. The message specifically on the card is pay attention to the thoughts and ideas that come to you as they are answered prayers. And that's literally what claircognizance is. It's that our thoughts and ideas are part of messages from God, source, universe, angels, ascended masters, other beings of light, whoever, whatever your belief system is. And that this is one of the ways that they can get through to us. Ego can also live in our thoughts and our minds. So if it's spiraling, if they're thoughts of feeling really stuck in something, or we're playing the what if down game. So the what if down game is, what if this thing happens and this awful thing happens and this really awful thing happens? If we're on that kind of downward spiral trajectory, what this card is saying is, hey, let's pop that back up, because you are contributing to the challenge that you're experiencing. Oops, I'm really glad that I didn't lose you guys. Okay, if you chose Angelite, which was the blue crystal in the middle, it's really interesting. We've got lots of rain kind of cards and messages coming up. So what we have here is we have a pathway. We've got a pathway moving forward. There aren't a lot of challenge or obstacles. We can see really clearly what's coming up for us and around us, but we still have quite a distance to travel, and it might be kind of hard to see the destination where we are right now. We know that there are still a lot of things to see. We know that we can allow our mind to wander. It looks like we may be wanting to be kind of aware, because although we have light ahead, we also have some things that are looking a little bit challenging and dark. So we might want to take a look for opportunities that allow us to move into light. This feels like this is also a really good time to invite in a little bit of distraction as well. So for example, if you were out driving and this was the road ahead of you, what you were looking at, this would be a really good time to turn on the radio, turn on the audiobook, and make sure that you are surrounding yourself with things that are feeling positive, because we do have a ways to go. But one of the things that I absolutely love about this is we don't have any really big obstacles that are coming up ahead of us. So part of what we're seeing is, even though there's some uncertainty in the sky and maybe things are looking a little bit challenging, we don't know that for sure. We certainly don't have any rain. We have a really clear road ahead. There aren't any really big stops or obstacles. So this is also a message to stay the course, that you're on the right track, you're on the right path, and to keep going, to keep following that intuition. The angel card that we have is the comfort card. This is Archangel Azrael. And I'll give you his message, then I'll tell you a little bit about how he works with us. So I am with you in your time of need, helping your heart to heal. And if we kind of go back to like this overall message and imagery that we have here, yeah, we can kind of see how things are feeling a little cloudy, a little down. And it makes sense to those invitations that we had to bring in some music, some levity, something that feels light and supportive. Archangel Azrael in the past has been known as the angel of death, because he helps and supports us when it's time for us to cross over to the other side. So there isn't anything negative, bad, or inherently scary in Archangel Azrael or the works that he does. Death being a natural part of life, he helps and supports us as we cross over, as we move forward. In addition to helping and supporting us in making that transition, he also supports us in connecting with our loved ones who are still here, and also helps and supports our loved ones who are here in moving through grief. So grief in our culture is really something that we don't work with or deal with very well. Typically, we see grief as something that we experience when somebody we love dies. There's often kind of like a perceived timeline that grief will be healed within, and then we're kind of expected to move forward. Grief doesn't work that way at all. Grief can pop up from out of nowhere to kind of remind us of the love that we have, that we're no longer able to give and share in the way that we would like, ideally. Grief also is attached to and connected with other life circumstances. So yes, in addition to loved ones crossing over and moving over to the other side, grief can be around a change in job, or it can be around dreams that you have been working towards that haven't come true, that haven't come to fruition. There are all sorts of different ways that grief can pop up into our life that doesn't have to do with the loss of a loved one. And so part of the messaging that we have coming up is that, yeah, there's a lot of healing that's happening here. There's opportunity, but there's also opportunity that's happening here too. If you are going through emotional ups and downs, grief, loss, anything along those lines with regards to the question that you asked, call on Archangel Azrael. Ask him for help and support and moving forward in a way that's healthy and supportive for you. And remember that with this card here, we do still have light that's up ahead. So it's not all dark and gloomy and dreary. Awesome. If you have chosen, hold on a second. I see we've had a question that's popped in for a reading. Please hold on to your question until we're finished. We're almost there. Let me just see. I'm going to just quickly go to the citrine and then I'll pop in and take a look at the messages we have. So if you chose the citrine, the message that we have for you here is there's a lot of activity. There's a lot that's going on. And there's a lot of energy in the situation that you're asking about. So if you missed it earlier, definitely make sure that you check out the beginning of the video after we finish today, because there are probably a lot of messages that are helpful for you in terms of how do I deal with all of this big energy that I'm feeling, that I'm experiencing, that potentially I'm feeling overwhelmed by, because there's a lot that's going on here. But one of the things I love about this picture is we also have a lot of steadiness that's coming up here as well. We've got trees along the side that are really steady, grounded, and rooted. And we also have these buildings. Like, those buildings aren't moving. They're solid, they're steady, they're grounded. There's a lot that's happening with them. It's not uncomplicated, but there's steadiness and stability that's in that. So part of the message that's coming up for you is it's saying, hey, there's lots that's going on. Things are feeling really, really active right now. Find those places to slow down, to stop, to breathe, to really ground yourself and connect yourself, and then hop back onto the freeway and get back into the energy and the flow of life. And also part of what I'm hearing is you aren't missing out on anything. So sometimes when things feel like they're really big and maybe we have a sense of urgency that's coming up, there can be this underlying feeling of push. I need to work. I need to do this and this and this and this. And we kind of start to spin in our minds. And part of what this is saying is that, yes, there is a lot that's going on, but you're not going to miss out on anything by slowing down and by taking that time and disconnecting, because you can still get back on this highway and you can still travel at the speed of light. So it's okay to rest. It's okay to slow down. And I love, on the heels of that, we have the message from Archangel. Who is this? Oh, this is Raziel. And he's saying, take back your power. So his message here is use your God-given power and intention to manifest blessings into your life. And to me, this is really that kind of, hold on, let's slow down. Let's not get caught up in what's happening around us externally. Let's remember who we are. Remember how powerful we are in and of ourselves, how capable we are, how we are able to make change. We are able to slow down. We are able to listen to intuition. We are able to make choices and decisions that reflect our best and highest good, our well-being. We can do that. And if you're having trouble doing that, you can call on your angels, you can call on your support system, your helpers, whoever you may prefer to work with, and you can ask for help and support with that. And in fact, if things are feeling this really busy here and you're having a hard time stepping out to ground and to balance, I'm seeing your helpers coming in and almost like throwing the e-brake on for you so that you can get off. If you're having a hard time doing it yourself, ask your helpers for some help to clear the path for you. And with that, if you are asking for help and support in creating some space for yourself, make sure that you allow yourself to receive it when it shows up, because it may show up in ways that you are not experienced in receiving help. So, for example, and I'm guilty of this myself, if you are a person who will just push through and get it done, and somebody offers help and you say, no, it's okay, I've got it, that is the help that's being offered. So make sure that even if you are capable of doing it, if help is offered, accept it gracefully and graciously. One of the big lessons for those of us who are givers, are helpers, are pleasers, when it comes to learning to receive and to receive gracefully and graciously, is to remember that part of the reason that we often like to help and support others is because it feels good. It feels good to watch somebody go from really chaotic and stressful into, I can slow down for a moment and I can breathe. And when we allow someone to give to us and we receive gracefully, we give the gift of giving to somebody else. So we give somebody else the opportunity to help us and to see us breathe and slow down and relax. And that's something that makes them feel good. So allow yourself to give the gift of giving to somebody else. All right, my friends, I'm just going to check in with the comments and see what we have. So you can now ask your question. Ziggy, if you want to ask your question again, please, I'd love to connect with you. Maria is saying, grief grew me as an individual. Yes, that is so incredibly powerful. It's true. And actually, it just so happens I have this little card here. These are some of the cards that I send out when I do readings for clients who are distant, and I send their writing to them. People think that grief shrinks over time, but actually grief doesn't shrink. We grow around grief. And that's such an amazing way to put it. Thank you so much, Marie, for that. And Tanya is saying that I was speaking to her soul. Absolutely. And Melissa is saying, love the citrine message. I have to check out the beginning of the video. Yes, absolutely. If you chose citrine, definitely check out the beginning of the video once we're no longer live. And Derek, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And Derek's asking, our first question, is there anything you see coming up for me that I just want to know? Oh, if there's anything regarding my future coming up. It's first time here. Awesome. Derek, I'm going to keep an eye out for your question. So what I'm going to ask you to do, especially since it's your first time here, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And also because I haven't had a chance to say it yet, on the show, if you ask about a certain area in your life in particular, that gives me something to really hone in on. So I don't do the open messages only because I only have a couple of minutes with each person, and it's too much for me to pull out one thing. So I'm going to ask you to ask a specific question. So what do I need to know about my future with regards to career or love life or health and well-being? And that's something that I can really sink my teeth into. So I'm going to do a question, and then I'm going to pop down and take a look for your question. Okay. And Mary Catherine, thank you. I appreciate that. Mary Catherine said, you are so wise. I would really love to be able to take that, but it's not me. It's just coming through. I'm just the messenger. Okay, Tatiana, hello. It's great to see you. Okay. Okay, this is a lot. Let me just see if I can condense this into something small. Okay, just last night saw my messages regarding having a ticket to fly after 2 weeks, leaving it on May 1, and haven't interacted since May 6. Haven't spoken since mid-April. Energetic check-in. Sorry if we reschedule. Okay, so this has to do with okay, should I be more focused on what's here at home and or allowing space for the other? Other options are entering my life too, feeling hesitant. Okay, so basically we're taking a look at romance and what the heck is going on with romance. Do we stick with the relationship where things have been disconnected? Do we focus on things that are closer to home? Or do we look at something else that's kind of popping up? So let me just see. What do we have coming up for you, my friend? So with regards to the one relationship that you have the ticket for, we're putting that on pause right now. And until there's energy to come back and to meet you, there's no point in continuing to put energy into that, because there isn't the ability on the other side to bring that energy back to you. So we put that on pause. In terms of what's kind of popping up around you, I'm seeing that there are lots of options that are coming to the forefront. There, it feels like there are some people who are interesting. There isn't anybody that's really standing out to me right now. I've got a little bit that's kind of rumbling in my lower tummy, my lower belly, and so part of that's telling me that one, we maybe have some stuff going on from a health perspective that we're wanting to make sure that we're paying attention to, because again, like I've got this kind of off feeling in my lower abdomen, my lower belly, and I'm wanting to make sure that we're paying attention to physical body. Your physical body is also giving you some clues and some cues as to like what's happening and what's going on. In addition to that, it also feels like we've got some stuff that's coming up around chemistry and sexual compatibility and interest, and it feels like that's something that's equally important to take into consideration when you're looking at romantic partnerships and relationships now and moving forward. And to me, that it's interesting because that's pulling me back to the person that we've kind of put on hold. And I'm reminded of one of the things that I do when I do any form of manifestation or affirmations. I always say this or something better. And part of what I'm seeing is that what you're putting on hold is a bit of a standard that you're still working up to. Circumstances and the timing and things aren't right with it as it is right now, but we're still looking for this as a bare minimum or something that's better. This feels like this is coming up around connection and engagement. It's coming up around chemistry, beliefs, mindset, how we live in the world, how we walk in the world. So it feels like you're how do I say this, that your potential partners are leveling up, in part because you're leveling up and because what you're willing to engage with and interact with is shifting and changing. Part of what I would say moving forward is not only do we have like connection and chemistry, but I really want some. Oh, I'm hoping that we're still streaming because I just got a notification that I might not be. So fingers crossed. But oh, no, I'm to take that as that is the end of the message that's coming up for you. Okay, so let's pull a card and see what's coming through for you with regards to relationship and partnership. You're not alone in this. There is definitely a lot of connection that's here. There is partnership that's here, but you're definitely not alone in this. There is this sense of reaching out and also being met as well. The hands are being held on both sides. And so both people are really active and engaged and they're interacting and there's connection. It also feels like with the way that they're sitting with each other, there's communication that's happening here. I'm also noticing the difference between the dark and the light colors. So this sense of opposites balancing each other and working well together in community and connection with each other. So there's a lot that's happening here. There's a lot of encouragement to not only to work towards accepting what this is, but also knowing that you're not alone in connecting with the person that you're meant to be with. So know that things are moving forward. Tatiana, it's always such a pleasure connecting with you. I'm really grateful that you hopped on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Okay, so I did tell Derek that I would quickly scroll down. Let me see. No, I'm not seeing his message here. So we will continue on and continue forward. Kathy, hello. It's great to see you. So Kathy's asking, do you see my grandson doing well in hip hop dance in the future? Absolutely. And he is hip hopping and doing his thing. And in fact, I see it being a really big part of him and who he is and how he moves. I'm wanting to say that he's got a show I'm not exactly sure what that means. Is that like a TV show that he's got? Is it that he's doing something kind of the way that I'm doing, where he's like performing and he's streaming to people? Is it something that is in between? I'm not entirely sure, but I do want to encourage him to continue on the journey that he's on, because it feels like he's really building and building and building. He's learning and he's moving, and he's one of the things that feels like it's really important and that I'm seeing him doing, so I'm confirming that he's already on the path, is that he's learning to take care of his body and to make sure that he's not overdoing things. And it feels like it's really important for him to learn the boundaries that his body has, which feels like it might be a little bit of a challenge because he is still young, but it is coming together and it is coming along for him. But his physical body, I'm really wanting to make sure he's paying attention to that, particularly his joints. So I've got stuff that feels like it's coming up in low back, hip, knee, possibly ankle, even toe, but also like arms and shoulders. So I'm really wanting to encourage him to make sure that when he is dancing, that he's paying attention to his body and his body placement. I know when I was young, I certainly didn't pay attention to that. And anybody my age who said, hey, oh, you better be careful about doing that because your body's not going to like it later, I didn't listen. And now I'm really wishing that I had. So, sometimes the young just aren't willing to listen to that. But that is the big message that's popping up for him. Yes, I do see lots of growth. I see that he's going on to do a lot of really cool things, and he's going to need to make sure that he's preserving his body while he's doing it. Okay, what card is coming up for Kathy? We've got a bit of serenity that's coming up here, a sense of peace, a sense of rest, and also a sense that we don't need to push or force to make things happen. Nature is absolutely in balance, and it is okay to stop, to slow down, and to enjoy. And it's interesting because it feels like that kind of also mirrors the messages that were coming up around making sure that he's taking care of his body, because part of that involves him slowing down. So actually with that, I'm wanting to encourage visualization and meditation, and really bringing in that mental connection into the dance and into the sport. And it feels like that's part of where this rest is coming in. Everything else is going to take care of itself, because of who he is, because of what he's doing, because of the connections that he's making. That's all going to work. I mean, yes, he's going to have to work hard, and he's going to have to work to build and to continue to grow. But this rest is equally important, both for his body and also for his mind as well. But he's really going places, and that's exciting. Kathy, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and your grandson too. Okay, Rhonda, hello, welcome. Do you see a sense? Do you sense a period of financial improvement coming? Yes. Okay, let's take a look. So first of all, when I look at finances for you, I'm feeling like everything is being taken care of, but it also feels like things are feeling stretched kind of thin. So it's not that you don't have what you need, because you do have what you need, but there isn't a lot extra that's kind of popping up with that. So I'm asking about when that's shifting and how that's shifting and what needs to be done in order to allow for that. So when is that shifting? I'm hearing kind of the next 3 months. So there are some shifts that are coming up. I also have some money that's coming in that feels like it's coming due. So I don't know if this is money that's owed to you from someone else. I'm wanting to talk about a partner in particular, or possibly a previous partner. But I'm feeling that there's some money that's finally coming in, or it's something that you're expecting, like an investment that's coming to its fruition, to its end. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I feel like we've got a little bit of money that's coming in. We're not talking about a huge amount of money. I'm seeing like kind of $2,000 to $5,000. So it's not something that's huge. but it does feel like it's enough to give you a bit of a buffer, and for things to feel a little more comfortable. And also, we're kind of wrapping something up. We're tying it off. There's a bit of a sign of conclusion that comes with this, and that's feeling good too. I know that we talked about 3 months, and I'm flip flopping on that timeline for this particular money, because they're showing me something that looks like they showed me 3 months, then they showed me 6 months, and then they're showing me 18 months. So we might still have a little bit of a journey that's happening with that, but that is going to be resolved, and it's going to be tied up, and then it's going to be done. In terms of something that's sustainable, which is additional money that's coming in either in like a bigger amount or something that's going to sustain you. So more that's coming in on a regular basis that's going to lift you from this level up into this level. That is starting kind of within the next 3 months. So I've got some additional money that's coming in. This feels like this is from work that you're doing. Or something that you're actively doing. So you're putting energy out and money is coming back to you. This is something that is sustained. It feels like it's something that's long term. Certainly, we're looking at it for the next couple of years. But I'm flip-flopping on where it's coming from, because on the one hand, this feels like this is coming in from work that you're already doing. So like you're receiving a promotion, you're receiving a raise, something along those lines. But then I'm seeing something that looks like it's kind of off to the side from work as well. So it's either that we've got some sort of promotion that's coming up within the coming 3 months that's also going to include additional money in your salary, or we've got something on the side that you're taking on. The thing that's interesting, that's pulling me more towards it being connected to your career, is it feels like it's something that's a consistent amount. So for example, if you were earning an additional, say, $1,000 a month, then it feels like every month we've got that extra $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000, whatever it is, where something on the side feels like it would be something that would fluctuate up and down. And that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing something that's consistent and stable. So this feels like this is more in line with promotion and somehow additional money that's coming in. So overall, if I look at the message that's coming up for you, yes, there are some shifts that are happening. There is a lump sum that's coming in at some point within the coming 18 months. And I wish that I had something that was more concrete for you, because it feels like there are a couple of pieces that are tied up with it. So it's not really straightforward. But then the other one within the coming 3 months, or 4 months. I just heard that within the next 3 to 4 months, there is some additional money that's coming in. It feels like it has to do with your work, and it feels like it's a significant raise above what you are currently receiving right now. And it's something that you're able to depend upon too. It feels like this is something, again, that's connected with your work. It's something you're easily able to do and take on. And the opportunity either is already present and available for you, or it's coming up within the next little while. Okay, let's see what we've got coming up for Rhonda. Whew, things are getting fiery. Things are changing rapidly. So this is really interesting, because on the one hand, this can be an indication that, hey, like, we're burning things to the ground. We're starting from scratch. I don't see that being the case. For me, this feels like this is lots of energy. This is lots of passion. There's a lot that's coming. There's a lot that's changing. And so part of the message that in addition for you is like, hey, buckle up, get ready, because things are changing quickly and rapidly. I also see a lot of passion in fire as well. And so part of the encouragement that's coming up is to find passion in your life. And, sometimes people think about passion mostly in like romance and physical chemistry and sex and connection. And while that could be part of it, I see this being more your own personal passion, like connecting with things that you really enjoy doing, things that you are passionate about. It could be a cause that you're passionate about that you want to talk about or speak about, or it could be learning to do something that's always been on your mind. Belly dancing popped into my head, which would be really beautiful on lots of different levels if it's something that you're drawn to. But the other thing that's very passion centered and connected is the sacral chakra, which is the chakra that has to do with passion and creativity. And for women, it's connected to our reproductive cycles and systems. And man, like how powerful and creative are we that literally our bodies can bring forth life. Like that's the level of passion and energy that I'm seeing coming up for you and around you. So we're not just talking about money and finances. We're talking about things that are even bigger than that. So the closing message that I have for you is, if you can, don't pinpoint and hone in on the money and the financial part, but make sure that you're opening up and seeing the bigger picture of all of the things that are coming together, because it's in the things that are outside of the money and finances that actually help to grow the money and finances. Rhonda, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. Thank you so much for hopping on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, support, and abundance energy your way. Awesome. Melissa, hello. It's great to see you. I've been experiencing, some very strong telepathy with another individual. I sometimes feel almost high when it happens. What do I need to know about it? That is a really great question. Let's take a look and see what we have coming up. I'm wanting to make sure that you're making connection with this person outside of the telepathic experiences that you're having, because it feels like you might have a greater awareness or understanding of what's happening and going on than the other person does, because I am seeing them also having same or similar experiences as well. So I'm wanting to make sure that we're connecting and talking about that, because it feels like that's really important for them to feel comfortable with what's happening and what's going on. And then I almost kind of want to encourage you to play with it, to gain a greater understanding of it. I'm reminded of one of the things that I talk about when it comes to developing intuition and receiving messages. You aren't alone in this experience. You're not passive in the experience either. So often when it comes to intuitive messages and information, we think that what we get is what we get, and that's it. It's just, that's what it is, and we kind of have to figure it out on our own, without recognizing that there's another energy or entity or being that is on the other side of those messages that we can connect with, that we can ask questions of. And so again, telepathy is slightly different from that. There is somebody else who is involved, and the connection between the two of you is what I'm really wanting to explore and to experience. It's also going to help to validate the experiences that you're having and come to understand them too. Again, it's kind of like when it comes to intuition, until we recognize that we're receiving intuitive messages, it can be really difficult to understand what they mean if we don't even recognize that we're having them. So the more that you're able to connect and communicate with this person, the easier that's going to be to understand what's going on and what's happening. The other reason that you can be receiving messages this strongly are that you are to be reaching out to that person, to be making connections that are really solid and concrete, because you're meant to work together, to be together in some way. And that's part of the reason that those bonds are really coming to life the way that they are, is they're saying, hey, there's more that we're needing to purposefully, intentionally interact with here in this place and in this space. Awesome. I'm really excited about this. I hope that you pop back. I've only experienced this a couple of different times in my life, and never in a way with one person where it was something we were able to explore. So I hope that you, receive some more information about it, and pop back and let us know how it's going, because that's really fascinating. Okay. We have a couple of cards that popped out for you, so I'll be quick. So with this one, we're just kind of trucking along, and at the same time, we're slowing down, we're pausing, and we're taking a break. We're not moving very quickly with this. And it's interesting because one of the things that you've described is, sometimes I almost feel high when it happens. And that can be both like really elevating and kind of grounding at the same time, which is kind of what we have here. We don't have a lot of movement that's happening. We're really being invited to breathe into the moment, to slow down, to connect, to become intentional, to enjoy what we've got going on outside of here, and to see. I'm really drawn to this headlight here, and this headlight that feels like it can help us to move forward, to point the way. I love this card. The other card that popped out for you was this card of travel and journey, and it's interesting because we can see how far this person has come. They've already climbed up a significant way. We've got this valley way down here. Presumably, they've come from there, and then we can see that they've walked up here, and yet there's still more that they're interested in seeing. What's interesting to me is we've got this kind of mirrored peak over here, and there's light that's here. And so, like, if we could imagine for a moment that we've got somebody over here and we're connecting and communicating across this void, and that there's light that's coming up here as we are making those connections and communication. So, like, with both of the cards that are coming up, there is a call to pause, to appreciate, to not push forward, but to take in where we are, whether it's in a calm meadow or in this absolutely brilliant and beautiful, awe-inspiring place. We're being called in to pause, to stop, to reflect, and potentially to make that bond, that connection, and say, like, hey, can you hear me? Let's explore. What does it sound like when our voices bounce back and forth throughout here? Can you hear me? Can I hear you? Do we need to go up higher? Do we need to go down lower? What can we explore and experience together? There are lots of questions, but there's a sense of excitement in finding out what else comes forward. And Melissa, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. And again, I hope you pop back and let us know how it goes. Kara, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Kara has said, will I be staying at my job until I retire, or something else, or is there something else for me? I'm hearing both. So what I see is that you can certainly stay at your job if you choose. So what that says to me is that there isn't anything or anyone that is pushing you out. That, I'm not seeing you being downsized. I'm not seeing you being asked to leave. I'm not seeing them saying, hey, you've come to a certain point in your career and you're just not going to advance any further. I'm not seeing anything like that. I'm not seeing a buyout or a takeover or anything that would take your position away from you. And part of what I'm hearing is that it feels like this is a really stable choice. So I feel a little bit of flip-flop that's coming back and forth for you. Do I stay here because it's stable and because I know it and it works for me and I know that I've got the plan? Or do I open myself up to another option and another opportunity? And there's a part of me that's saying, hey, like, just throw on the brakes, just stay safe, just stay steady and keep doing what you're doing and where you are. And it feels like you're doing that for at least a little while longer, because they're showing me that you're building things up, you're building up momentum and support. And part of what I'm seeing is like kind of scanning the economic landscape. And it's like, I'm not wanting to do anything that's too outside of what I'm already doing right now because this feels safe. So everything feels like it's coming up around safety net, having what I need. And I'm not wanting to take a lot of chances. I'm not wanting to move outside of that. It does feel like there are some options that are coming up around you. I've got things that are being presented as other choices for you. And if I kind of scan out, I'm seeing a 2 to 3 years that it feels like you're staying where you are. But then as we move into that 4 or 5 years, then it feels like things are opening up. So I don't know if that's because you've got what you've needed from the job that you're currently in, the career that you're currently in. And it's like, hey, what the hell? Excuse my language. We're going to do something else or try something else because you only live once. And I'd really like to experience this other thing. And when I look at this, I'm seeing so many different options for you, Kara. They're showing me something that feels like it's got like travel involved. I'm seeing being possibly like an organizer person for somebody. And I can't tell exactly what it is. Like all of the things that I'm seeing feel like you'd be sitting there saying, "That's just wild, Erin." And I'd be like, "Yeah, no, you're right. I think so too," which feels like it means it's even more accurate. Um, so like kind of what I'm seeing for that 4-year, 5-year timeline time frame is that you're doing something that feels like it's really outside of your comfort zone. It feels like it's a little bit off the wall, but you've already got the support, the safety net, the stability, and there's kind of this feeling of I can do whatever I want to do because I've got that stability and I'm going to be okay. So the next couple of years, I'm seeing you really kind of holding down the fort where you are and making sure that you have the resources that you need for when you are ready to retire, or what I'm hearing is partially retire, because it feels like whatever it is that you're going into, you have a really good time with it, and I'm seeing you wanting to work beyond the expected working time and really enjoying it. So there are lots of options for you, but as I said, the things that I want to clarify, I'm not seeing your job going anywhere. So there isn't like a need. You're not being fired or laid off or anything like that. There is stability in the work that you have right now. And I'm seeing you holding on to that for at least the next couple of years. And then it feels like there's some pretty cool opportunities for you to try things that feel really interesting. But the next couple of years are what give you this support and the safety net. Okay, here's the card that we have for you. This is interesting because it's also the image that I've used on the back. We have a compass here that's pointing us in a direction, and what's really interesting to me is I find it actually kind of difficult to see where exactly that compass is pointing, because the light is so bright and it's reflecting, and so again, like the sense that I have here is that this has more to do with what brings you light, what brings you excitement, and that's where the path is leading, because everything else feels like it's on point. So I feel like this is a confirmation of those messages that came up for you. So right now, safe, steady Eddie, keep the pace. But a couple of years from now, it feels like you've got opportunities that bring you a lot of joy and a lot of excitement, that take you outside of your comfort zone, that feel like they're really amazing. And it's not only like work and career, but we're talking about new overall life experiences. And that feels like that might be a little bit of a shift for you. I hope that you pop back and let us know how it goes, Kara, because that feels really amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and I'm really grateful that you decided to hop on tonight. Drew, hello, my friend. Let's take a look and see what you've got coming up. Is there anything else I might do to help recruit for the passage before May 31st, besides my final preview event this weekend? Okay, so the passage is a course. I think the only way that I can describe it is a really amazing course that Drew is going to be offering. And he's asking, how do we invite in more people? So part of what I'm seeing is there's a lot of energy that's been going out, that's been inviting, that's been engaging, which feels amazing. And now we're bringing all of that energy back in. So rather than reaching out and offering, we're coming into a place in a space where we know we've done everything that we've needed to. We're coming into a sense of calm and clarity. And the focus is less on where do I get people? And it's more now on I know the people will come, so I'm going to help them to see where they need to come because I'm building it. So the shift feels like we're moving out of where are you and more into I'm building, I'm bringing it in, I'm calling it in, I'm inviting it in, and we're moving from a reach into a I know that it's here, I know that it's coming. I just want to see if we've got anybody coming up. It's interesting because I've got Archangel Azrael popping up, and he came up earlier with one of the crystals that we pulled, and he works with grief and loss. So he's working with you around previous expectations that haven't been met. So starting big projects, events, things that you've put on, that you've hosted, where you've had the big idea And what showed up was like this. And this in between the two is the grief that he's helping with, the loss that he's helping with, because it feels like that's part of what's there is the old I've built. And even though that I know that this is solid and strong and even better than what I've built before, I'm inviting in I'm inviting in healing for myself to shift my own expectations. I just noticed I was looking down and there's a piece of paper here. I don't even remember what it's on because it's kind of under my keyboard. And I've got cuddling and the word just drew me. So So part of what I'm hearing is that there needs to also be some physical touch, and if it's at all possible, I'm wanting to encourage you to take a look into creation that can come with physical and sexual intimacy, which is really counter to a message we've had in the past that said that there wasn't going to be any of that. So it also sounds and feels like physical touch and possibly chemistry and connection, but certainly physical touch that's comforting is also part of what's helping to ground in what you are building. So I will leave it at that because I don't feel that I'm in a place at this point in this moment to share more about that, but I'm seeing you filling in the blanks. Okay, this is your card. So we have this tree that is so bright, and one, I absolutely love it because it feels like it's really mirroring and reflecting the message that we had that, you know, you are standing strong. We aren't going out. We're not reaching. And in fact, the light is what is reaching out beyond. So if you see yourself as being the tree, and the light reaching out to those who are meant to be with you, to connect with you, that source helping and supporting to draw in where you are and who you are needing to work with and to connect with. So this is all about coming into yourself, rooting and grounding in yourself. That is where the power is. It's switched from I'm reaching out, I'm opening, I'm inviting, I'm engaging, I'm pulling in, and now source is like, no, you stand and we will invite in, we will illuminate. So don't worry. So Drew, it is coming together. Chemistry sounds like that's part of the light that you're creating. So find your peeps and have a good time. I'm so grateful that you hopped on and joined us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, support, and abundance energy your way, and maybe some cuddle invitations your way as well. All right. Stacy, hello. Thanks for joining us. Stacy says, I'm conflicted over this puppy situation. I wanted a break from jobs, but I can't stop thinking about it. And I know that Stacy is wondering about whether or not she's bringing a new puppy into her home. So let's take a look and see what we've got coming up. Oh, I'm feeling you cuddling a puppy. I know that you are saying that you're wanting a break from dogs, and I'm definitely seeing and feeling that. But I feel like I've got this puppy that is just crawling into your arms, crawling into your heart, and saying, "Hey, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." And so I am seeing a new puppy coming into your life, and within a relatively short amount of time, like the next couple of weeks, the next month, 2 months maybe, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's even that long. And part of what I'm hearing is that this is going to be a good time because you're able to like puppy train and potty train and get into things, and that this is an easier time during the spring and the summer than say during the winter. I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of what I'm hearing. And I'm seeing this new puppy that comes into your life as being a really solid member of your family. And also, as this puppy gets older, it also feels like it becomes a bit of a grounding point as your family grows and matures and shifts. So there's a lot of consistency and stability that actually comes at a time in your family's growth that feels like it's ready. So there's a really positive shift that does come with this puppy coming into your life now. I'm also hearing that should you decide to wait a couple of years, that would be okay as well, that all of those same traits are there. But man, I really feel the conflict that you're feeling, because like I'm feeling this beautiful puppy literally just crawling into your lap and kind of setting up shop, and it just crawls into your heart. And you know, I'm seeing you not actually being able to say no. I'm seeing the really big eyes that go with that message too. Hold on, we've got our card for you. Okay, so what this is saying is, hey, like this choice isn't yours alone. So there are other people that are needing to come in and be part of that. You've got part. This is you here. You've got like part of the puzzle, but the other person has the other part of the puzzle. So this feels like this is something that needs to be a joint decision. I'm assuming with yourself and other members of your family, and like, what is it that we're wanting to do? What are we wanting to focus on? Where are we wanting to put our energy and attention? But that you only have part of the puzzle, and that they're filling in the rest of the puzzle. So the decision feels like it's ultimately going to be made by several of you, and that's part of how it becomes something that feels comfortable for you as well in taking it on or deciding to wait. Yes, other people are involved, and that's how the choice and the decision is ultimately going to be made. And until you decide absolutely yes that that's the path and the direction you're going on, don't put yourself in a situation where a puppy can crawl into your lap, because you will hold on to it and you won't let it go. So until you're absolutely sure, make sure that you don't put yourself in a situation where you can't say no. Stacy, I'm so glad that you joined us this evening, and I hope you keep us posted and let you know what you end up doing with regards to the puppy. Awesome. And Teresa is popping on. Hi, Teresa. It's so good to see you. And Teresa is asking, when will the storm settle down metaphorically? um, there are different aspects of the storm slowing down for you. Right now, it feels like you're in the eye, and there's a lot of intensity. There's a lot that's happening. There's a lot that's going on. But moving outside of the eye of the storm, even though you're moving out of it, it's still really stormy. So there are different stages. It does feel like you are in the worst of it. I'm not seeing anything else. And actually, it does feel like you're already starting to move out of and move through it. I'm hearing August of this year, but it doesn't feel like August is completely the end of it. But I'm hearing that that's the last hurrah. So where you're going through, you're navigating things, it feels like there's something that you're expecting in August anyway. And I know for myself, August has always just been a challenging month. It just always is. And that's kind of what's popping up for me for you. So I don't know if you've got anniversaries in August that are always just kind of challenging, or if August for you is also a month that is just doesn't matter what happens, it's just always challenging. But I feel a lot of relief coming up as we move into September. So what I do want to say is I'm not seeing anything new coming up for you that is indicating like, hey, August is the last hurrah and then it gets easier. It feels like there's an energetic shift that happens for you, and literally it feels like you're shifting into a new gear. So if you're driving a standard vehicle and you're moving from third into fourth, and everything is just easier, your engine is revving better because it's in a better spot, it's just easier. So yeah, it is continuing to slow down, to get better. There are still little blips along the way, but as we move out of August and into September, it feels like there's this huge weight that's been lifted off of you, and we're letting it go. I am wanting to say during the summer, I want to encourage you to get to the ocean, to get to the river, to get to bodies of water, to the lake. The more that you are in water, the easier it is to release. I mean, you can obviously do this in the shower or in the bathtub as well, but there's something really powerful in being in a natural body of water and just being able to release and to let go. So if you enjoy swimming, I'd encourage you to get out to some of the local swimming spots to help to facilitate that over the next couple of months. Okay, let's see what's coming up for Teresa about the storm, the metaphoric storm. Oh, I love this. We are moving towards the light. And if we take a look at like the clouds that are on the other side of this, I mean, things have been stormy, but there is so much relief that comes towards this. We can see that this person's already been traveling for quite some time, and there's a sense of accomplishment. So I want you to know that the storm, the challenge, the struggle, coming through it is an accomplishment. That's exactly what this card is. It's all about accomplishment, achievement. It's about moving into the light where things are better. We're moving out of this tunnel. I don't know if you can tell or not, but we're basically like bicycling through some sort of tunnel, and we're coming out literally the other side. So Teresa, you're coming into it. Just keep focusing on that. And as I said, the worst is behind you, and we can certainly see that in this picture as well. So, you know, the little things that are coming up over the next month or so, or couple of months rather, are things like being wrapped up and tied up, and maybe we have a little blip here or a little bit blip there, but it's nothing compared to the intensity and the level that you've been going through over the last little while. I am so excited to see that for you. And I am sending big hugs, lots of love, lots of support, and lots of like decontamination energy your way. Just keep breathing. Awesome. And please pop back and let us know how you're doing. Awesome. JC, hello, you made it. JC emailed me because she received the email newsletter and she said, oh no, I'm in class. I'm so glad that you made it. Oh, Derek, great. I'm so glad to see your question. So Derek was asking what's coming up for him in the future with regards to career. Okay, what do we have coming up around work and career? I feel like there's some shift and change that's coming up, but what I'm feeling with it is that this is something that you are planning. You're putting energy into it, and you are focused on making a change. Part of it could be a little bit of forward movement, but I'm also seeing that you're checking out options kind of around you too. Like I feel like you're kind of scanning what's happening, what's going on. But you are the one who is actively preparing and planning to make change. You aren't waiting for something to happen. You're being proactive, and you are looking for what is the next thing that I'm wanting to put my energy in, where I'm wanting to put my focus. I'm feeling a lot of drive and push that's coming up for you as well. There's a lot of building and planning and drive and push, and we're putting a lot of energy into things. So at this point, because they're also popping in and saying, hey, there's a lot of thinking and there's possibly a lot of research that's happening right now, but we're not quite ready to make a shift and change. Where are we making a change? I'm flip-flopping on this one because what I'm seeing is that you are planning to make a change. You're ready to start looking at making change. But the timing doesn't feel like it's quite right yet. So I'm seeing you having the next thing kind of lined up before you make change. So again, there could be some promotion in the field, in the work that you're currently doing. We might be kind of stepping up within that, but I'm really keeping an eye out on the horizon for something else that's coming on that is as good as or better. And also, again, something that's really stimulating for you as well, because like I'm really feeling this push. Like I'm really wanting to do something, to accomplish something, to achieve something. I'm wanting to do something that's different, or I'm wanting to do something that's going to push me or take me outside of my comfort zone, while still like just like making things really work well. This primarily feels like this is something that is your choice. However, I am seeing that there are some shifts and changes that are happening in the circumstances and the situation that you're currently in right now. So I'm wanting to encourage you to continue to look at other options. As I said, it does feel like there is promotion within the current structure that you're in that feels like it's possible, but things are shifting around you, and it feels like that's something that you're aware of. And that's part of the reason that you are proactively looking at other options. And I want to encourage you to continue to do that, because things are changing. It does feel like we've got at least a year. So they're showing me 6 months, and then they're flashing and showing me 18 months. And this is frustrating because that's the second time that it's happened. And I'm not exactly sure what's happening. So let's see. 6 months takes us to the end of 2026, and 18 months, oh, of course, takes us to the end of 2027. Yeah. So what I want to discourage you from doing is making change in that first, say, 5 or 6 months of 2027. So you can make a change towards the end of this year, anytime between now and the end of this year. Perfect. You can make a change. But once we're in that kind of spot from January to, say, like this time next year, you want to hold where you are, because things feel like they get a little bit rocky and bumpy. But once we get past that and we start to move into, I was going to say February, once we start to move into September, October, November, then it feels like it's kind of safe to make a shift. It's interesting because, as I said, that's like the second time this evening that similar timeline and time frame has come up, and with regards to money, finances, work, and career. So it'll be interesting to see what's happening on a bigger global level at that time, at the beginning of 2027, because it feels like this is something that's impacting many people. So if you're making a change beforehand, great, that's solid. But nothing until we move into the middle of 2027 if you haven't already made change. Okay, let's take a look, Derek, and see what we've got coming up for you. So this is really joyful. This is peaceful. This is simple. And this feels really transformational. There isn't anything in this that has the sense of urgency that I feel coming up for you. So if you are feeling urgency in making change or changing direction, part of what's coming up is to encourage you to look for the sense of calm, the beauty in where you are, and the enjoyment in where you are. For me, butterflies are all about transition, transformation. So like that's coming, that's going to happen, but we don't have to look at it from this really urgent place where things need to happen. It will happen in its own time. So there's a really stark contrast for me in what I was feeling coming up around you with that, like, we got to get this going, we got to get this done. And this card that's saying, hey, like transformation is coming and happening, but we can be peaceful. And if we look at this hand and how is gently holding the flower that's holding the butterfly isn't scared. It's there. It's not flying away. It's in a place of peace and comfort as well. So slow down, take your time. Definitely be looking, because that did come through as being really significant and important for you. Do have a plan, but you don't need to enact a plan from a place of fear, from a place of doubt, or from a place of lack, because things are coming together. They are happening. So the more that you are centered and grounded, the easier it's going to be to make those shifts and to make those transitions in ways that are healthy, supportive, and positive for you. So you've got this. It's okay. Derek, I hope that you hop back and let us know how you're doing. And yeah, send big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Yay, JC and Maxine. It's so good to see you too. It's been a while. Tatiana, let me just see here. Yes, absolutely. Do take care of your body, and I'm going to send some healing your way for what they found for you too. Yeah, Tatiana is just saying that they've found some things from a health perspective, and that she is needing to pay attention to her body. So yes, please pay attention to your body, and to focus on that, because that is the priority for now, right now, for sure. Awesome. Oh, good. Thank you, Marie. I'm so grateful. Let me see. Melanie, hello. Thanks for joining us. I would like to know what my soul contract with my husband entails. Oh, and how best to communicate with him. That is such a cool question, Melanie. Okay, let's take a look and see what message we have coming up for you. I can see where communication is coming up and is coming forward, because I feel a lot of challenge and I'm feeling a lot of block, which is interesting, because on the other side of that block, I feel like we are doing lots of talking. There's lots of communication that's happening. It's just that it's not being received. And I'm reminded that communication is like 25% talking and 75% listening. And yet when I go into the listening, I feel like I've got like a buffer or something in front of my ear, so that things aren't coming through. And it's interesting. This feels like this is coming up a little bit for both of you on both sides, that you each have different ways that you communicate. Because part of what I'm seeing from your husband is he's showing me like, I don't know how else I can get this across to her. And yet at the same time, he shows me that it's not something, what you're wanting to talk about, it's not something that he's considered, or that he hasn't developed the pathway to have the thought process to move forward. I'm going to explain it to you this way. There's a card in my Romance Angels deck, and it's called Deception. And the image on it is of two people wearing masks, and the message is that someone in this situation is wearing a false mask, or basically isn't being honest with the other person. And what I've come to understand that card means is, it's not that somebody is intentionally trying to deceive the other person. It's just that you can only be as honest with somebody else as you have been honest with yourself. And it feels like that's that pathway that's missing, that one or both of you it's coming to a point where one or both of you are needing to be honest with yourselves about what it is that you want and need, what you're able to contribute, and how. And we're needing to come back and to have that conversation together. And it does feel like we've got a series of conversations that are coming up. Somebody is showing me that they are feeling like they are out of their depth, and yet feel like they need to present as if everything is okay and everything is strong. And I'm just wanting to wrap this person in my arms, because there's an underlying fear that's coming up. And this may also be where part of that honesty is coming in as well. I need to be honest with myself about the fact that I'm afraid of not being able, of not being competent, of not being enough, of not doing enough. And I'm afraid of losing. There's a lot of fear, and what it's coming back to is the sense of honesty. And again, I really want to emphasize that no one in the situation is manipulating or intentionally deceiving anybody else. There is love here. There's a lot of love here. There's a lot of desire for things to work out, for things to be easy, for things to function and to flow. So like all of those things that are the building blocks of a healthy relationship, they all exist. It's just that we're having a hard time putting them together to build the structure that we want. So if you imagine a whole pile of Legos scattered all over the floor, you have exactly what you need in order to build the tower that you want to build. It's just we need to put the pieces together. So all of those foundational pieces are there. They do exist. It's just, how do we bring them together? And that is that honesty piece and component, that we need to be able within ourselves to come down to the things that are important, that we are wanting to focus on, that um, we need, that we want to give, that we're capable of giving, and possibly where we're needing help and support, even if it's something that's not completely comfortable to, first of all, admit that we need, and second of all, to ask for the help, and then also to receive it. So we've got a couple of things that are happening here, but that honesty and that introspection together, individually rather, feels like that's the thing that is needed in order to break things open. I just want to ask if there are any messages that are coming up to help to promote that, because again, like I'm seeing a fluency and openness in doing that, and then I'm also seeing, like, on the other side, that there are pathways that just haven't been formed yet to make it, which feels like that makes a lot of sense, because I feel like we're learning a new language in this as well, and I'm just wanting to create like sense of peace and nurturing, and like, hey, it's going to be okay, you're going to be able to do this. Like I'm seeing somebody who's comparing themselves, who's at like toddler level of learning to use like utensils, and they're looking at somebody who's like a master butcher, and they're doing like the knife thing back and forth, and it's like, I can't do that, and it's okay, you can learn to do that, and there's help and support for you. So um that we went all over the place with that, but it all comes back to honesty, and honesty with self first and foremost, because as I said, you can't be honest with somebody else if you haven't first been honest with yourself. Okay, let's take a look and see what Melanie is needing to know. I know you asked about soul contract. And so actually the intention that I have with this card that we pull is that the card speaks specifically to the soul contract question that you had. This totally makes sense. We are holding this flame safe in our hands. It's still growing. We're illuminating things. We're not illuminating a lot, but we're holding it close. We're holding it tight. This is very nurturing and loving and supportive, and we're not letting anything shatter that. And it feels like that's the flame of the relationship and the partnership that you have. Both of you are like, hey, yeah, things are feeling challenging. Like, we can see that it's dark around here, but together we have strength, and together we have love, and together again we have all of the building pieces that we need. So I'm seeing both of you holding and contributing to the flame that you have, and saying, hey, like, when things feel dark and challenging, it's okay, we can come back here, and here we can also grow and expand this light as well. So yeah, there's a lot of protection. So part of that soul contract that you have is to be together, is to work together, and is to figure out, how do we move past this, or how do we illuminate through the darkness. Melanie, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and I hope you pop back and let us know how it's going. Okay, let me see. Rhonda, I did answer your question. You were one of the first ones that I answered. Let me see. Oh, okay. And Melanie, yes, we did. I got your question there too. We just did that. And Kathy, you are welcome. I'm so glad that you hopped on. Avril, just wondering if anything is coming up regarding my job. What do I need to know about work and career? It's going to get busy. It's going to get really, 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 really busy, and you're going to be on the run. You're going to be on your toes, and things are happening, and we're go, 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 go. But I noticed that my energy really shifted and changed when I did that. Like, I wanted to start singing. I wanted to start dancing. So there's a sense of like joy. And again, like, part of the messages that we had earlier with the choose your crystal reading, was that a big part of the experience has to do with what you're bringing to it. So a big part of work and job and career for you coming up over the next several months is, what are you showing up? How are you showing up? What are you bringing to it? Because that's going to have a really big impact on not only your enjoyment of your work, but also I'm seeing like stability and longevity with work as well. So there's some way in which your work is directly benefited and impacted by the energy that you're bringing to it. So make sure that you're bringing that doesn't actually doesn't encapsulate the whole thing that I'm seeing, because part of what I'm seeing is that, yes, it does reflect on your own involvement in what's happening with work and like your sense of accomplishment and how good you feel about your job and work, but also it has an impact of the overall bigger picture. What is this? I used to work at Canadian Tire in White Rock when the new store was first built. And one of the things that the owner of our store decided to do was he decided that he was going to have a kiosk right in front of the indoors. And there was always going to be a person that was standing there. They had their own little phone where they could take phone calls if they needed to. But they helped to direct people to where they were going throughout the store. And one of the reasons that the owner did that was because he really wanted to make sure that we had that sense of human touch, human connection. In fact, one of the other things that he did was he didn't do the automated, like press 1 for, press 0 for. He didn't do that. It always went to a person, whether it was the customer service department, whether it was the office upstairs, whether it was the person who was working at the kiosk. It always went to a person and somebody answered the phone. And it was part of that overall customer experience that was different from all of the other stores, but particularly box stores in the area. That is the level of energy that I'm seeing coming up for you. When you are coming into your work in a good place, it's having literally an effect and an overall impact on how the business itself is being perceived, and it's helping and supporting the overall longevity of the business. So it's not just you and the interactions that you have that are being affected. It's having an effect and an impact on the overall well-being of the business itself. So the more that you bring to your work, to your job, the more beneficial impact it's going to have to the overall structure. And that's pretty awesome. That's pretty exciting to be in a place where you can affect that level of change. Let's see what's coming up for you, Avril. This is feeling really bright. It's feeling really hopeful. It's there's a lot of movement, and yet there's stillness in it as well. I have such a great sense of peace. So what I want to say is that I'm feeling that the work, the job that you're doing is something that can bring you a sense of peace, that it can bring a sense of light and a sense of hope and a sense of enjoyment. So if that's not currently what you're experiencing in your work, look for either ways that you can experience this more. The or would be, or look for something else, but I'm not seeing that being the case. So look for ways to promote this feeling and experience within yourself and also within your workplace and your workspace. But everything is feeling really bright. It's feeling very transformational. There's lots of stuff that's shifting and changing and releasing, but it's happening in a way that doesn't have to have a detrimental impact on you or how you show up in your job and in your work. So things are coming together as they need to, and you can have a really positive impact on your experience and the overall business functionality too, which is cool. And I'm just going to say, I've never had a message like that before. So Avril, I really hope that you pop back and let us know how things are going with work, because that is such a cool place to be. I'm so grateful that you hopped on this evening and joined us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Melissa, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And Drew's laughing at me. Yeah, I'm sure you're dying. And Stacy, you are welcome. And Marie. To piggyback on the puppy question, can we ask, for deceased pets to come back to us? That is a really cool question. Okay, so I believe, Marie, what you are asking is, can we ask our deceased pets to reincarnate and come back to be with us in this lifetime again? Like, can we have more than one experience within this lifetime with the soul of our pet is the question that I'm answering. I hope that I'm understanding that correctly. And you know what? I don't actually have a really straightforward answer for you because pets are different from people. And so I'm going to explain it in kind of a roundabout way. And this is something that Bobby has explained as well. If you haven't been around for a while, Bobby Rowntree is a friend of mine. We used to do our, not connection with intention, oracle chats together, and we would talk about lots of different things. And she is a born medium. So mediumship is her forte. And so this is part of what I am getting, not only from my own experience, but also from what Bobby and I have talked about as well with regards to humans. So humans, generally speaking, are not reincarnating again in the same lifetime. So a lot of people will have the experience of their grandparent like coming back through a child that they have born, or through their child's child, so through their grandchild. And typically speaking, as long as there is somebody who is alive who remembers us, we aren't coming back and reincarnating, because the soul is still like present in and around. It's kind of like when I'm going through a hard time, maybe I'm calling on my grandmother on the other side, and I'm asking her for some help and support, and her energy is going to be there for my entire lifetime until I no longer remember her, and my kids don't remember her, and so on, until there isn't anybody who's left to remember that person. That soul will stay on the other side and is not going to come back and reincarnate. It's not until everybody has left, has crossed over, passed over to the other side, that then that soul kind of goes through the process of like moving on and carrying on, and prepares again to come back in. So from a human soul point of view, that doesn't happen. What does happen is those the souls of our deceased loved ones can come back, and they can be protectors, and they can kind of keep an eye out on our kids, especially. I've definitely seen grandparents holding the next generation of children on the other side while they're waiting to come in, while they're waiting to be birthed here. I've definitely experienced that. And I've experienced the souls of children who are born in, who have really strong connection with grandparents who had passed long before they were born. And I believe it's because of that connection that our loved ones have on the other side with the souls that are part of our family that are still waiting to come in. And so, there's definitely that connection there. And there can be mannerisms about our children and about our loved ones who are here, who are growing up, that remind us of the ones on the other side. And absolutely that happens. And those souls can, again, like be part of the soul team that's helping and supporting us and our loved ones, our children, as they're growing up. So that definitely happens. But in terms of the soul of a grandparent reincarnating and becoming the soul that's connected to a grandchild that's born in your lifetime, that really doesn't happen. So when I ask about what happens with our pets, I typically see the same thing, that our pets on the other side will be with the pets who come into our lives in the future. And in fact, I've seen a lot of pets recognizing that we're struggling here, and they want to make sure that we have the love and the support that they gave to us in another pet that's here. So I've seen them help us to bring the next pet into our life, or they've kind of guided us to where we can find that support. I have personal experience with them still continuing to hang out with us to make sure that we're okay in spirit form, and they'll continue to send us little messages. Maybe you'll hear their collar jingling, or you'll see a little bit of fluff that couldn't possibly be there years after they've passed, and yet it shows up to say, hey, I'm still here, I still love you. So our pets do a lot from the other side for us, and they help to make sure that we are supported on this side too. And often our pets will have characteristics that remind us of the ones that are on the other side, because they're around and they're helping and supporting, and they help to bring in this new pet too. It's kind of like if you were to I have a sister. I'm just gonna pick on her right now, and it would be like, I would really love for her to be with somebody who fits in with the rest of the family and who's a really awesome guy, a really awesome person. So I'm gonna pick somebody for her that I love, that reminds me of all of the rest of us. And our pets will do exactly the same thing, because honestly, our pets know us better than anybody else. The love that they have for us is unconditional, and the love that we have for them is unconditional too. And because they know us so well, they're going to make sure that they point us in the direction of another soul, another being that can support us in the same way. So they're with us and around us. I haven't experienced them coming back as like making that change and coming back so quickly. But I would love to hear from somebody else if you know for certain that it's the soul of your pet and like you don't feel them on the other side and they're very definitely in a pet that's with you. It would be awesome to hear that experience. But so far at this point, that's not the experience that I've had. But I do know that they're absolutely always around us and always loving us. That was such a cool question, Marie. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you asked. Awesome. My friends, I think that we've come to the end of our evening this evening. I had said in my mind that I have things I need to get done at 9 tonight and that we'd be here until 8:30, and we've gone a little bit past. So I'm so incredibly grateful that you were here this evening with me, that you took time out of your busy day to come and to connect. I'm Erin Lee of heavenlymessenger.com. I'm a psychic and angel card reader, and I also teach and practice Reiki, and I do other things too. I've got lots of exciting things happening on my website with upcoming classes and courses. And of course, you're more than welcome to reach out and to book a one-on-one reading with me as well if you would like. I would love to connect with you. Also, there's the new Connection with Intention email newsletter. Let me just see if I can pull that up. Here we go. And you can find that on my website. Again, Heavenly, Lee, messenger.com. And it is listed there, or this is the direct link to it. And the email newsletter is just something that comes out the day before I'm going to go live and do the Connection with Intention show that we've had this evening. On it, you'll see a little bit of information about what we're going to be talking about this week, what's coming up. I may also put the invitation out there to say, hey, is there something big that's going on that you want to make sure that I talk about and address on the show? Send me a message, let me know. And that's how we got tonight's topic of conversation as well. It came from one of my Reiki students asking a question. So that might be something that we incorporate in the future, which I think would be a lot of fun. So you'll also get a preview of the Choose Your Adventure Choose Your Adventure crystal reading. I'll get it right. You'll get that advanced image, and so you can kind of check in with your guides and say, hey, which crystal do I need to listen to and pay attention for the question that I'm asking. And in June, I am coming up on 20 years being in professional practice, doing psychic and angel card readings and practicing Reiki and helping and supporting people in this way. And I'm going to have like a 20th birthday anniversary celebration. And there's going to be some information that's going to be popping out. Facebook, it will be on Facebook. So feel free to join my Facebook page, which is again, Heavenly Messenger. But it's been an up and down kind of place to connect with people. So I am shifting more over to the newsletter. This will be the only thing that is outside of Connection with Intention. It will be the information about the promotions that are coming up to help to celebrate the 20th birthday, the 20th anniversary of doing this work that I love, that I'm grateful for, because I get to connect with you. So anyway, I know that we won't be back next week for Connection with Intention because I'm teaching, but I'm hopeful that the following week we will be. So definitely keep an eye on Facebook or join the email newsletter so that you receive directly to your inbox the date, the time, and the link to join me either on Facebook or YouTube. Again, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined me this evening. It is such a pleasure to connect with you in this way, and I'm grateful for the time that you've taken out of your day. I am sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and I look forward to connecting with you soon, however that may be. And if I was really on top of things, I would have already had this lined up. So thanks for sticking with me. See you next time.